A lot of preseason matches and signings later, and football is back, man. So welcome back to the weekend recap. Typically we do the top 4 leagues, England, Spain, Italy, and Germany, and add in a 5th bonus league for good measure, but since so few leagues have started, it will be a little different this weekend. I'm Adrian, by the way. These are my social handles if you want to talk sometime. Easiest to reach me on Twitter, that's for sure. But you know what hasn't changed? The weekend recap being brought to you by OneFootball, man. The best football app out there if you want to be kept up to date on the latest scores, news, and transfers from the teams and competitions you care about. Also, highlights. Use the link in the description for a free download on Android or iOS. Shout out to my Apple boys. Not me though. Android. Twitter for Android, all the way. Let's get started with the Premier League, and it will be a Premier League heavy episode given the lack of leagues. So Liverpool kicked off the season by blitzing Norwich in the first half, with Salah finding some form early, getting a goal and an assist for himself. There was an unlucky own goal, etc. Liverpool looked decent going forward in the first half, while Norwich looked poor defensively. And I mean, yes, they may have won the championship, but now, after having to face the relentless press of the European champions, that would definitely take some getting used to. And they weren't exactly airtight in the championship to begin with. But also, to be fair, I think Klopp will have been unhappy with Liverpool's defensive performance on the day, especially in the first half, as when Liverpool had to defend, they weren't looking as strong as last season. Once again, Alexander-Arnold's side was targeted, so I'll be interested to see if that continues to be a problem for Liverpool on that side, because he's great going forward. Defensively, he could be better. When Norwich scored, it was from Pukki, slipping between Arnold and Gomez. Very well taken by Pukki, though, so credit to him, as that was his first shot on target of the season, and it led to a goal, just as his first shot on target has led to a goal in each of the last 8 seasons consecutively. So in the end, I'm still quite certain Norwich will survive. They will likely tighten up that defense a bit as they did in the second half, and will certainly provide ample issues going forward for plenty of teams in the league, I think. Now to the other main contender for the title, Manchester City, who absolutely smashed West Ham. Not a surprise there, really, if you look at recent meetings between these two. City haven't lost to West Ham since September of 2015, and this weekend's 5-0 drubbing was their 9th victory in a row against West Ham across all competitions, including beating them 4-1 in a friendly just a month ago in the Premier League Asia Trophy or whatever. You know what I mean. Gabriel Jesus scored City's first of the Premier League season, and then it was all about Raheem Sterling, who, having scored a hat-trick in his first match, has me rethinking my Player of the Year choice. But, I mean, there's still 37 matches to go, man. But dude, that dink over the keeper was stunning from Sterling. Of course, there was some controversy, for lack of a better word, I guess, as VAR called a goal back for offside, in which you would need a strong magnifying glass to be able to tell it was off. That's the thing with offside, though. There's no interpretation to it, so if you're a foot offside or a millimeter offside, it will be called either way. Kind of annoying, and I don't love seeing it, but I guess the rule is the rule. So, City pick up from where they left off last season. Great performance all around from them. There were goals in these opening matches, man, and some great performances out of teams that I perhaps didn't really expect, but I guess it is still early. For example, Watford didn't just lose, but lost handily against Brighton, who smacked them 3-0, a masterwork from Graham Potter in his Premier League debut to go away to Watford and pull off a result like that. It's amazing. It will be interesting to see if they can sustain this level of play and continue to get important points against these other teams that you expect will be in the bottom half of the table. Then there was Sean Dyche and Burnley, who did the exact same thing, winning 3-0 at the Turf Moor over Southampton, who probably should have been leading just a few minutes into this match. But a nice brace from Ashley Barnes, who is looking very much in form early, and Goodmanson put the icing on the cake, 3-0 over the Saints. Sheffield and Bournemouth played to a 1-1 draw, but it was really nice to see Billy Sharp score for the Blades in the 88th minute after coming on as a sub. Sheffield United legend, lifelong fan, season ticket holder at one time, etc. It's great to see him scoring in the Premier League. Everton and Palace played out a bore draw, and it looked as though Aston Villa would shock Tottenham, who were slow starters, but a second half surge from the Spurs was enough to turn it around. 3-1 was the final there, and Ndombele scored a great goal, and then Kane with a brace. No August curse this year. Arsenal managed to get their first win in the Nicola Pepe era away. That's right. After struggling on the road so much last season, Arsenal kicked off their Premier League campaign with a victory over Steve Bruce and the boys. And the boys didn't look too bad. They had their moments. They didn't have a ton of the ball, but they had their moments. Of course, the goal scorer for Arsenal was Aubameyang, but most of the shine should go to Maitland-Niles, who cut the ball out very well, played a beauty to Aubameyang, and Aubameyang did do well to Dink Dubravka. 1-0 to the Arsenal, and that's how it ended. 0-0 between Wolves and Leicester also. Those two teams are going to be dueling it out in the standings as well, but I expect it to be just as tight in the table between them as it was in this match, at least on the score, because Leicester really dominated this match. United versus Chelsea, two other teams that I think will be tight in the table. Well, they met two former players managing the teams and the two most successful teams in the Premier League era, and the most expensive defender to boot, Harry Slabhead. Chelsea actually started better, the highlight of which being Tammy Abrams smashing a strike off the post. That was a beautiful strike, by the way. No spin on it. So it was somewhat against the run of play that United took the lead thanks to a Rashford penalty. Damn if he isn't good at pens. He's frustrated me more than he's thrilled me over the past couple of seasons, you know? A bit of a nearly there player with too many failed tricks and passes, but his penalties are a joy to see. Wait until later though, Adrian. After United scored, they controlled the match a little better, but I did like seeing how at it Chelsea was. They were pressing high and causing some issues for United's back line thanks to Barkley, Abram, and namely Mason Mount's press. But whenever they had possession, they made the wrong choice and had some very loose passes and touches. Despite that, they were dangerous as Emerson hit the post and the bar at the same time. Actually, as the second half wore on, I realized that United's passing wasn't exactly stellar at all times either. They certainly improved in the second. Andreas Pereira found Anthony Martial's knee very nicely in the 65th minute, 2-0 United. 1 minute later, Pogba plays an incredible ball over the top. Rashford, 3-0. Is this Rashford's season to impress me? But man, Pogba was great in that second half. The way he set up the fourth goal was also outstanding. And you've got to be happy for Daniel James to score on his Premier League debut. A dream come true. Unless you wear blue. But seriously, James was a little fortunate. He'd almost lost the moment and the deflection was fortunate. But he balanced it out with the skill he showed, and we'll just say a little fortunate. So anyway, Chelsea, they were quite poor and have me rethinking my 6th place prediction for them. Still 37 matches to go though. But still, the errors in passing and defense are quite worrying. United, building up their team from the back with the additions of Wan-Bissaka and Maguire, their backline is certainly better than the Phil Jones, Chris Smalling, Ashley Young that Mourinho had to put up with. Let's talk Primeira Liga, because I'm going to make Portuguese football fans out of all of you. Gil Vicente are back into the top flight after many years in a complicated legal battle between themselves, the Ligue, another club in Portugal, and they aren't back in the Liga NOS just to participate, as evidenced from their match against Porto. Tough first opponent to have, for Porto, as Marchesín was Porto's best player, and Porto found themselves behind not once but twice against the newly promoted side. 2 great goals from Gil Vicente, who really impressed me, and Porto scored via a penalty. There's some crap players out there for Porto. Like Tiki Soares. Oof. Why isn't Nakajima playing? Doesn't make sense. Why did you buy him? He hasn't played in the last 2 games. Another one of the new teams, Famalicão, got off to a great start as well, as they had to go all the way to my family's homeland, São Miguel, to play against Santa Clara. And Famalicão got a 2-0 win thanks in no small part to their keeper, Defendi, what a name, standing on his head at times, making 6 saves during that match. 2 massive errors from Santa Clara left back João Lucas led to the goals. Famalicão off to the races with 3 points. Let's see if they can keep this up. Stick around for a season or 3. Oh, and Benfica, well, after Porto had lost, it was on us to take advantage of that fact and get that bread, so to speak. My God, did they ever do that against Paços de Ferreira, the team that won the 2nd division last year. I think most Benfiquistas expected a comfortable win, but to get our second 5-0 win in a row, mad. Next up, as far as young talent goes, is seemingly Nuno Tavares, a left back playing as a right back that has a wicked left peg on him, man. He scored the goal of the weekend with a long looping strike. Then he was involved in a couple other goals as well, picking up an assist. 19 years old. Watch out. But I'm also really happy and excited with what I've seen from Chiquinho, and I wonder if Lage will give him a start on the weekend in the middle or move him more to the right and slide Pizzi into the middle. We'll see, But a solid start, especially considering Porto lost. Sporting drew 1-1 with Marítimo and nearly lost and won the match in equal measure in the final few minutes in that game. So a great weekend for Benfica, but I expect Vitória Guimarães to cause some big problems in the league this season. Alright, we'll also quickly stop in Ligue 1, where Marseille have continued to be as crap as ever. They started things this season with a 2-0 loss to Reims, who weren't horrible last season. They finished in 8th, actually, but still, Marseille, how have they fallen from the team that was in the Europa League final a year ago? Lyon, on the other hand, had a strong start with a 3-0 win away to Monaco, and I think it's going to be another weird year for Monaco fans. They aren't the team you used to know anymore. Far from it. I mean, it didn't help that Fabregas got himself sent off in the 30th minute, but I mean, they were already down a goal at that point as well, so. Saint-Etienne was off to a strong start after finishing in 4th place last season and qualifying for the Europa League. They got a 2-0 win away to Dijon. Not the toughest opponent, I know, but a winning start is always a winning start. What? Is always appreciated. Mind you, a winning start didn't benefit Monaco last season, did it? Also, it was nice to see Lille still capable of picking up 3 points despite losing guys like Nicolas Pepe and Raphael Leong this summer. They defeated Nantes 2-1 thanks to a brace from Victor Osimhen, I think, whom they signed this July actually. And finally, PSG beat up on Nîmes 3-0 with goals from Cavani, Di Maria and Mbappe. No surprises there really. Mbappe, besides a few blunders, looked pretty lethal on the ball. Know what else wasn't a surprise? PSG's Ultras displaying mean banners to Neymar. Big bullies in the crowd, saying things like, Neymar getting f***ed by a prostitute doesn't just happen in a remontada, right? Ouch. That, of course, is in reference to his role he played in the Barcelona remontada and how he said that was one of the most memorable moments of his career in the locker room, and also referencing his recent legal issues with that Brazilian model. The Eredivisie is already in its 2nd week of action, and AZ Alkmaar are off to a perfect start. After winning their first match 4-0, they defeated Waalwijk, a newly promoted team. I hope I said that close. 2-0. Also, part of AZ Alkmaar's stadium roof collapse. Thankfully, nobody was there as AZ were playing away this weekend. Also, having drawn in their first match of the season, Ajax went in on FC Emmen, winning 5-0 at the Johan Cruyff Arena, and the attack is up and running nice and early in the season. Goals from Tadic, Van de Beek, Ziyech, and a brace from Huntelaar, which took him up to 350 club goals. That's across all clubs, of course. On top of that, PSV also got a win over Den Haag with new signing Bruma, the Portuguese dude, grabbing them the equalizer in a man-of-the-match performance, and then Daniel Malen scored what would be the winner in a 3-1 victory. That was PSV's first victory of the season, so they're part of a big group on 4 points. While Utrecht and AZ Alkmaar lead the way so far, but who cares about tables at this point, right? We can wait a month or so before I start talking about tables, because right now it's just kind of pointless. No pun intended there. Alright guys, I'm going to stop talking in a second now. Thank you so much for sticking with me during the summer, or in some cases, welcome back to those who are just returning now. It's good to see you again. Drop a like for me if you enjoyed this video, and subscribe if you want to join this growing community to go through this coming season together. I'm Adrian, I love ya, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace.